What's going on, team? I'm Coach Co from Coach Co Collectibles, and today we're going to be talking about perhaps the most asked question when it comes to sports cards, and that is, should I grade my card? Now, there are several things, and we're going to go through all of them today, that determine whether or not you should grade your sports cards. Some people are on the fence about grading. For those of you who aren't, grading is a great opportunity to not only preserve the condition of your sports card, but if you're looking to create a little bit more value in your sports card, grading again could be a great tool to use if you're looking to enhance the liquidity of your sports card. So today what we're going to be going through is several things to look out for when it comes to grading sports cards, as well as some tools that you can use on SportsCardsPro that'll help determine whether or not it's feasible financially to grade that sports card. Again, of course, if you want to grade the card for the sake of grading it, I would recommend doing so. If it's a card that you hold near and dear to you, regardless of price, go ahead and grade it anyway if that's what you wanted to do. I know for myself, there's a bunch of cards that fall into that category. So first off, when you're grading a sports card, or when you're about to grade a sports card, you want to make sure that the card you're about to grade is in its best possible condition. And there are 4 categories, generally speaking, that grading companies go by in order to determine whether or not that card is a 9 or 10. For the purpose of this video, we're going to be talking about 9s or 10s. The 10 being what everybody wants. They want a gem card. So those 4 categories are surface, edges, corners, and centering. So those 4 are the magic 4 that you want to be looking for when you're evaluating either your raw cards or someone else's raw cards prior to purchasing. And I've got an example of all of those today. So first off, we're going to be going through surface. Now for surface, I'd highly recommend using several different lights. What I mean by that is having them in different positions. I've actually got one just above here. I've got another one on the side. And the reason why you want this is because sometimes a surface issue can be apparent in one light, but not another. It can be apparent in one angle, but not another. So having several lights available allows it to be a little bit easier. So if it wasn't for this light up top, we wouldn't be able to see that if you look right above his, or right at the bottom over there, you see that? There's a little spot right there, just to the left of the RC logo. Generally speaking, this might have the ability to come off with a microfiber cloth, but it is something to look at for sure when it comes to looking at surface. So you want to be identifying things like this when it comes to surface issues. The second, what we're going to be looking at today is edges. Now, you want to make sure that the edges are clean. What do I mean by that? You want to make sure you're refraining from seeing the whitening, as you can see over here, or the jagged edges. As you can see from this Bemstrom Young Gun, there's a bit of jaggedness, and it's right along the edge there. So that's definitely going to result in a bit of a knockdown when it comes to the grade. So, I mean, there's a high likelihood that this card does not gem. Another thing to look at is corners. I've got another card here for you. If you look at the top left, you'll see there's a bit of whitening. You also want sharp corners. So you don't want any roundedness in the corners. Now, if it has roundedness in the corners, if it has a bit of whitening, does it gem? Sometimes. But at that point, you're leaving it up to sheer fate. And you want to make sure that you go in with the best possible chance of getting the grade that you're looking for. Another card we're going to pull out today is a card when it comes to centering. So this is the Andrea Bellotti. If you can see left to right, and you can almost count the divots over here, that you can see 4 on this side and 5 on the other. So this card would be considered off center. And again, it wouldn't be a great candidate to send in for a gem grade. Now, we can talk a little bit more extensively about these in a future video. And as such, you want to make sure that you hit that subscribe button so that you get notifications on the next Sports Card Pro video. But now we're going to be diving into, once we've established that our card checks all of the boxes, all 4 of those boxes, is it still worth it to send it in? So what we're going to need is to pull up Sports Cards Pro, because we're going to be using this today to determine whether or not my card is worth submitting from a financial perspective if I'm looking to make some profit from it. So what I've chosen today is a Jason Robertson. This is his standard Young Gun. In order to go through this motion on the Sports Card Pro app, what we're going to do is we're going to find the card that we want, and we've gone through this on several occasions on other videos. We're going to go to number 235, and we're going to add that to our collection with one click, just like so. Now we're going to go up, and we're going to click My Account and our collection. Once we're in My Collection, you're going to scroll down. You're going to see the shortcut for your grading recommendations is over here, which is awesome. And here's where we start to determine whether or not this is worth grading. Now, you will find, if you're on the premium version of Sports Card Pro, that you have this lovely little almost help button below all of your raw cards. All right, so you have to add the card as a raw card, which makes sense because we're thinking about grading this card. And just below the value of it, you'll find a little circle or some stars. Now, it'll tell you the profit at a grade of a 10. So what this algorithm does is it accounts for a $50 PSA submission fee. So if you happen to get PSA at a cheaper rate because of a bulk submission or because of a special that they're running, that's perhaps even better and would require a different algorithm. But this actually accounts for a $50 PSA submission fee. Okay, so I mean, there are some pros there, some real pros there. So if it says that you're going to be profitable at $50, if you manage to get in at like an $18 fee or a $12, $15 fee, you can just expect a little bit more profit, barring turnaround times. So there is some buffer as well. It says profit at the 10 grade. So this one would have to be a PSA 10 in order for you to profit at a $50 submission fee, which means that you need to believe that this card is pretty much perfect or close to it so that it gets a PSA 10 to submit in order to justify submitting this card. Okay, we'll go through a few of my other ones just to show you a few other options. So I've got a Luka Doncic base prism here. Again, I profit $167.50 if I buy this card at its current value and submit it, and it gets a PSA 10. But if it gets a PSA 9 or an 8, I don't profit. We're going to go through another one. We'll go through, let's see here, Austin Matthews. I've been talking about this one for a bit. So this one, you see 2 stars next to it, and that's because you can profit 2 ways. And that's kind of what you're looking for if you're submitting a card and you're kind of on the fence, especially because grading can be so subjective. Even if you think it's a 10, there's a small likelihood that it comes back a 9. And you want to make sure that you have a favorable condition when you're submitting a card. So in this instance, if I were to submit my Austin Matthews that I paid $500 for at a $50 submission, I would be profiting $83.55 at a 9 or $955 at a 10. So that is a magic scenario for you. Okay, so those are the ones you'd be looking for. Now, that's not to say that if you only have the option of profiting off a PSA 10, do I submit it? I'm just saying that there's increased risk in submitting cards in that manner. Also, as previously mentioned, with respect to the collection, you can literally put in how much you paid for the card. So if you bought in on a player early and their cards have spiked, it's entirely possible that it'll be profitable at a 9 or a 10 because you bought in at the right time. All right, so I've given you several tools today to help you make a decision on whether or not you want to be submitting your cards to get graded. I hope this helps. As always, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Share this with your friend who's thinking about submitting sports cards. And please don't be a stranger. Feel free to ask questions. These questions allow us to create content that's tailored to all of you. And for now, Coach Co and Sports Card Pro are out.